Starting with, now we're going to start with July 19, evident. It's a performance test, and we're going to take a look at it. So with performance tests, you want to keep really good track of your time. And I like to have the timer going from 0 up to 90 minutes. And the reason why I want to keep track of my time is so sees how long it takes me to go through the task memo, which is by far the most important document. And I'll point out which one that is, the file and the library. Because if I'm spending more than 50, 55 minutes reading it, I'm doing something wrong. Most likely, the reason that it happens is students will spend so much time with the details of the library and not understanding the facts of their case. And we're going to flip it around, and I'll show you how to get through the library more efficiently by doing it this way. So first thing I want to do is open up go to the first page, and what we have is the table of contents, something that most people just gloss over. I don't. I think it's important to look at it, and I'm going to do it a lot slower here than I would on the exam. State versus Martin. That automatically tells me it's a criminal case. So when I think criminal, okay, got it. Could be a murder, could be a bunch of things. Got the instructions, which are always going to be the same. We'll go through them briefly here, but on the exam, you don't need to read them. They haven't changed, but I would read them in detail 4 or 5 times. If you have never read them, okay, read them twice. Just so you understand what the examiners are telling you to do, because they really do give you some clues in there. But you don't need to read them on the exam because they don't change. File. Memo to applicant from Andrew Solmark. You are applicant. You're always applicant. Everything you do is titled applicant. So that's the task memo. That's the memo that you're been assigned to do. So Andrew is either the defense attorney in your firm, if you're representing Martin, or you're at the DA's office, and it's probably this, main DA. So memo to applicant from Andrew. Then we have memo to file from Janelle. Don't know who that is. None of the names match up, but we somehow put memos in the file. Transcript of a pretrial hearing. Okay, I know pretrial hearings can be used as former testimony. So I'm thinking that right off the back. And they give us a transcript of the pretrial hearing, which again emphasizes that it's criminal because there's no pretrial hearings in civil cases. Okay, and that's how I don't want to spend too long with the table of contents, but I just want to see what's there so I understand. Now, here are the instructions. We're going to go through them real quickly now. The first one talks about the purpose is how to evaluate the case law with the facts of your case and how to mesh them all together. Number 2 tells us, the fictional state of Columbia. So if it's a federal case, it'll say Franklin. If it's a state case, it'll be Columbia, which is California, and federal for Franklin. But that doesn't matter. Won't matter here nor there, whether it's at. It says you have, number 3, you have 2 sets of material, the file and the library. 4 explains what the file is. And the file is the facts of your case, any transcripts, depositions, notes, whatever the case is. But the first document of the file is a memorandum containing the instructions. That is the most important document. Make sure you follow that. I can't emphasize how important it is to follow the instructions. And read them. I read the task memo. That's why I keep the time on my task memo. How long does it actually take me? I'll go over my time here in a minute so you can compare with what you did. Number 5, the library. It talks about the legal authorities. It says you don't need to give case sites. If the case is Browers versus, just put Browers. Okay? If it's Brown versus what, just put Brown. They're not looking for case sites. They say that in number 5. Number 6, it talks about general knowledge, what you learned in law school and pretty much elsewhere, but it's a closed universe. Everything's there that you need with some common sense, additional added elements. Number 7, its performance test is designed to be completed in 90 minutes. Okay, that's how it's actually designed. Just like every essay is designed to be an hour. So when someone tells me, oh, it's a racehorse essay, there's no such thing. They're all designed to be an hour. I get it. Some of them feel like they're 5-10 minutes longer. Sometimes will feel 5 minutes less. I've seen one essay where I'm like, I got like 35-40 minutes. I'm like, is that it? No, that was it. Now, that's a rarity, but most of them will be right around the hour. This is why time management is so essential, which is the last thing they say in instruction number 7. It says, since the time allotted for the session includes 2 essays, in addition to the performance test, time management is essential. And so many people will shoot themselves in the foot like, oh, well, the PT's worth twice as much, so I'm going to spend extra time with it. That's a terrible strategy. Don't do that. Because the odds of you getting an additional 5 points or 10 points by spending an additional 10 or 15 minutes on it almost never happens. And what does that do? You're automatically down 5 or 10 points on a PT, or on one of the essays. And and you're rushing and it just becomes a whole mess. Hour and a half, you move on. In fact, we do the PT last. I'll explain why we do the PT last on day 3, the first half of day 1. Okay, number 8. Your response will be graded on its compliance with instructions. And with this particular performance test, I graded tons of them. And for the people that actually followed the instructions, not one person got below a 60. And it was that simple. It was so simple to follow the instructions. When we go to the task memo, I'm going to show you. It's also, you'll be graded on your content, the thoroughness, like how detailed you can be. And that's something that our wheels, our processing speed of our minds, how fast we can comprehend things and marshal it in a very organized fashion and be able to understand it. Everyone's got to have different processing speed in their mind. So some people can read it once quickly and be able to see everything. Personally, that's not me. So everyone works differently, but you all have the minimum competence to do it. At least very few people I've met that don't. So if you went to law school, you should be able to do it. So you should be thorough enough to at least pass it. And organization will begin by the instructions in the task. Okay, so those are the instructions, which you don't need to read again. If you haven't read them, do read them. Now, here's the task memo. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll actually rip this out and I'll even put a star on the top of the page so I know what page it is, just so I can go back and look at it if I need to. But I will read it twice right now. And before I even start writing or after I read the library, I go back and read it one more time just to make sure I'm answering exactly what they're asking, because things become a lot clearer there. So this one took me 6 minutes and 6 seconds to read multiple times. Let's take a look at it. I had a hearing yesterday in the Martin case. That's the defendant, charged with identity theft. The defendant, Martin, acquired the name, and notice the way I'm reading defendant Martin, because I'm trying to make sense of who everyone is. Acquired the name and social security number of another person from her former job at Fastcom, a cell phone company. All right, so she stole someone's identity when she worked at the cell phone company. And I'm thinking after I read, and most people just read it and expect it, you have to be thinking the whole time. This is the same thing we do on MBEs, on essays, and the performance test. Use this information to try to open charge accounts at several stores, and in one case, successful. The person's whose name is on it, Miss Martin. Oh, sorry, the one that the defendant used to discover and put a fraud alert. So the person whose identity she used put a fraud alert on it. The police eventually arrested the defendant. And so what our boss did was put a memo to the file that summarizes the expected testimony. So that must be the other memo that's in the file, because we saw that in the table of contents. And we have the preliminary. At yesterday's hearing, I gave notice that I noticed, which is generally a requirement for some of the evidence rules, although they don't test on it, that he intended to introduce evidence of 3 specific incidences involving the defendant. 3 instances. I'll show you how easy those are going to be defined. We want to use all 3 of these as similar acts evidence to rebut the defense that we expect the defendant to offer. I would like to admit them as substantive evidence under 404. So our boss says, first thing, 404, substantive evidence, and of course, I assume we're going to find that law in the library, and I was right. And then, actually, hold on, that's 404, 1, 2, 3. Because what they said is, I'd like to admit, so we want to use 3 instances of similar acts to rebut the defense, and you would like to admit them, the 3 instances, as substantive evidence under 404. This is why you take your time to read the task memo and you follow the instructions. It's so important to do so, because now, would I type this in my computer? Probably. You can make little handwritten notes, but maybe I'm going to read the task memo second time before I put it in there, just to make sure I'm not misreading anything. I don't want to waste time putting things in that I made a mistake on. So I want to be very clear. Now, this is the way it goes because I already know that, but you want to read the whole thing twice, just to be sure before you start typing and wasting time. I would also like to use them to impeach Miss Martin if she takes the stand under 608. So I would like to use them, the 3 instances, to impeach her under 608. So it's gonna be kind of like if she does testify, because don't forget with evidence, you can't impeach somebody unless they testify or they're a declarant. So that's why in criminal cases, defendants don't often take the stand, because when the defendant takes the stand, they put their credibility, not their character, their credibility in issue, and their credibility is open to attack. Prior convictions, all the things, prior acts of dishonesty, and you can keep them up there for days. All right, that's why the criminal defense attorney is like, well, if you have a rap sheet, which means a history of criminal acts, they're not going to put you on the stand, because the jury's going to hear every bad thing you've ever done, which is another reason why, unless there's an injustice being done, I don't ever want to be a witness in a trial. You know why? They'll dig up, if I was a key witness, they'll dig up dirt, stuff that I didn't even know I did. Fuck, you're right, I did do that 10 years ago. Well, I forgot about that, because we all have skeletons that you don't, you're like, oh yeah, people bring that shit up. Like, oh, all right, 608, 1, 2, and this is for impeachment. So guess what? Now I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to say, before I start briefing, I need an objective appraisal. They tell you objective. So if for some reason we're not going to be able to get this in as substantive evidence, should I tell the boss, let's go for it? No, I'm not trying to persuade him. I'm just going to say, look, odds are, yeah, we're going to get this in. And because there's 3, there's probably going to be a yes, no, and a maybe. Examiners love doing that. The yes, no, and the maybe. One's going to be absolutely not. One's going to be absolutely. And one's going to be, well, it's going to be like, oh, you may or may not. So here, objectively, I'm going to be like, yeah, we're getting this in. Yeah, the rules clearly allow it. No, the rules clearly don't allow this. And this one, it's gonna be judge's discretion. It's gonna be real close, And here's how we might get it in. Here's how it might not. So it's already starting to. I'm already starting to formulate and understand what the examiners are asking. So you need an objective appraisal. Don't bullshit them. Just be honest with them. Like, that's what objective means. Of the arguments for and against the admission. So of course you want to say why it would be admissible and any arguments against. And that's probably going to go to the one that's going to be wavering the most. Please write a memorandum analyzing first. For those of you that didn't see it here, you're going to see it again. And I can't tell you, people miss this, which is crazy. Tells me you don't read carefully. First, analyze whether we can admit these as substantive evidence. Oh, you mean under 404 like you just told me? Yeah. These 1, 2, 3. Got it, boss. It's that simple. And second, there we go. Second, whether we can use them to impeach if she takes the stand. Well, this is something, as part of our case, this is only if the defendant testifies. So this may not ever even come into play at trial. We don't know. But we're going to be prepared for trial. And that's why we're writing this. That's why we do this one first and this one second. Now, some people did item 1, item 2, item 3. And no, that's not what he told you to do. And anybody who actually had this framework, not one person got below a 60. Not one person got below a 60. I'll get to you in a second, Dave. Just having that framework in place. It's just following instructions. And what did the instructions say for number 8? You will be graded on your compliance with instructions. Did you absolutely follow what they told you to do? And who here did number 1, 404, 608, number 2? Okay. How would that happen?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Break it down into each individual one.
But that's not what they told you to do.
I was thinking.
Well, no. On a PT, that's the beautiful thing about a PT. It's just, okay, boss. Yeah, you don't have to think. They just tell you. So how did you, when they said it twice, and of course you read it more than once, right? That means 4 times I have to smack you over the head. The examiner smack you over the head, and you still say, no, I'm going to do it my way. They'll be fired pretty soon. So this is why we have this, because if they would give you a license and you go to work for someone or the judge or a DA or prosecutor and you don't follow instructions, they're going to be like, how the hell did you get a license? And they're going to look at the state bar going, you let this person in? And I'll be honest, they let way more people in that shouldn't be in than people that should be in. They don't. Who here, and thank you for being honest, who here did not do that way? Let me know. Come on. Probably most of you didn't do it. That's why. So everyone else did it. Everyone else did it properly. One person. I don't buy that. David, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand your question. I did it improperly, I think, because it made sense to me in my mind to go piece of evidence 404 608, piece of evidence 404 608.
Okay. But guys, let's go back to number 8 of the instructions one more time. Your response will be graded on its compliance with instructions, content, thoroughness, and organization. They tell you how to organize it, and the instructions give it to you. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Thank you for being honest. And I'm glad that, because don't make that mistake again. And I have to ask this, David. If you read the task memo at least twice, which I strongly recommend, in fact, I recommend reading it more than twice, but I'll settle for twice. And you read it slowly and you read it carefully, and they say it twice, which means you read it 4 times. May I ask how you missed it?
I honestly, I don't know how I missed it. It just, in my mind, it made more sense to go piece by piece. I don't know why it made more sense to me that way, but it did.
Okay. So go back and read this again when we're done with this. I want you guys both to read it again and try to pinpoint what you didn't see. Because as you notice, it said, we want to use all 3. I'd like to admit them early. And then before I need objective appraisal, please write a memo analyzing first. So if you didn't see that first and second, you have to ask yourself why. And why you didn't see it twice. Something.
I have a question.
Okay, well, we'll have that note. So here's the thing, and I'm not going to read the whole file in the library, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy it is to find things. So here, we're going to go through the file, and I assume you've already read it. And if you look at, where's it at? Go to the transcript of the pretrial hearing. Because we have and I've actually diced it up into different parts. So when Solomark says, Your Honor, I'm referring to 3 separate instances. That's right in the middle of the page, if you can see it. It says first. That's the first instance. Then, if you look at the bottom of the page, the last paragraph on the page, second. Watch this. And the first paragraph, I'm sorry, then you'll see the third on the top of the next page. They'll give you things right in order, first, second, third. They just lay out all 3 instances. So I actually, just like I do with the essays, separate those so I know exactly which ones are which. So if I have to go back to the file, I don't want to go back to the library. It's going to take too much time. If I have to go back to the file because my facts are so much more important, because that's what I'm called to analyze on, I see where the 1, 2, and 3 are. And that's how easy it is to find. They're not going to hide the ball. I promise you, they did not hide the ball. This is a state licensing exam testing minimum legal competence. They do not hide the ball. Okay, so the rest of it goes into the 3 instances. Now, my time my total time for the task memo was 6 minutes and 6 seconds, and my time for the entire file was 21 minutes and 1 second. I'm just throwing that one in there. Okay, now the library. So I want to keep accurate track of my time. How long did it take me to the library? 21 minutes and 43 seconds. And which means I'm right around the mark of where I need to be, which means I'm at 42 minutes and change. And they say around 45 minutes to read, 45 minutes to write. So you have plenty of time if you don't rush. Take your time. Because another thing, if you actually took your time and read the task memo one more time, how many times did you read the task memo, honestly? Twice. Dave, how many times did you read the task memo, honestly?
I read it once.
Okay. So good. I'm glad you made that mistake now, because I know you won't make it again. You're like, oh shit, like, because now now you can't get above a 65. They're not. I didn't see one that did it the wrong way. They got above 65. Could be mistaken. I mean, I didn't see every single one of them, but it'd be hard pressed to. I mean, you've already just put yourself at such a disadvantage by that one thing, by not reading carefully and doing what you're told. So now go to the library. We have 2 cases. If I were to guess, what do I think the first case is going to encompass? Just take a wild guess. 404, exactly. Because the examiners do that. They've done it. And they didn't always do that. It used to be if anyone wants me, go on the California Bar's website, look at the 3-hour PTs. Oh my God. You should be counting your blessings. This is so much easier than those 3-hour PTs. And there were 2 of them. Like the file in the library would be combined like 60 pages. It's nuts. This is like, this, no. So this is what I do with the library. I'm going to tell you how to do it again. So what I will do is I will read the first case slowly, carefully, and I will circle what the law is because I already know I need 404 and 608. I already read the file, so I know what my three instances are, which I'd probably already write them in the computer, like whatever, lying, drunk, whatever the three are. So I can like, all right. And then when I see things in the case, so I'll read the first case, and instead of typing every little thing, I'm just going to circle what I think I'm going to need. I will read the entire first case. And now, after I read the entire first case, I will look at what I circled and I will plug and play. I'll put in the law. I'll probably do an overview of what 404 is. And I assume there's going to be little tidbits of 404 that apply to certain things. And I'll just copy those in there. So now I'm actually putting the meat on the skeleton. So I'm starting to put it on the bones. And I don't want to waste time by typing things as I see them because it might turn out to be irrelevant or wrong or whatever the case is. So I wait till I get done with the case. And you don't have to worry about one case trumping the other or one being a higher, one's a court of appeals, one's Supreme Court, one's newer, one's older. I've actually never seen that matter. I've never seen that matter. And so I'm not too worried about that. All right. And then we have the second case. My guess it'll probably cover 6, which it does. And it does have a little bit of 404 in it. So again, you're going to read this case all the way to the end, circle what you think is important, and then go ahead and put the flash on it. At that point, you might have like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to go. And so now you start adding the facts, it should probably have a little bit more time than that. And now you'll start adding the facts and really flesh everything out. And that's why I say you can go back to the library because the library is going to take you usually less time. But after I read going back to the file. After I read the library, I will go back one more time and read the task memo because it'll seem so much clearer now. And that's why the third time I read it, okay, I'm 100% convinced I got everything right in the order and I'm doing exactly what they asked me to do. Be objective and go through it, listing 1, 2, 3 first, 404. I got the law in there and I already know the facts of my case because it's easier to remember the facts of your case. Although sometimes you might get them a little bit confused with the facts of some of the library cases. That's why I might go back to the file and take a look like, wait, what happened here? And because I have that 1, 2, 3 down, I know exactly where to find the 1, 2, and 3 if I need to go quick reference to each one. And that's how you go through a performance test. Okay. I'll take questions on it, but Ethan, go ahead and cut the recording now. All right. Hopefully, did that make a little bit more sense? And I know we did it maybe once or twice before, and it may not have been as clear as it is now. So just out of curiosity, who here actually did, and by the way, Yada, thanks for the suggestion about class. We had to do the order for the recording, by the way. Who here actually did the bare bones skeleton and actually went through the PT? Okay, very few people, right? All right, and by the way, it's always funny. Every time somebody wants to sign up for the course, like, well, how many PTs do we do? I hate that how many question because you're never going to do them. They're like, I want to do 1 PT a week. All right, you're not going to, and you don't need to. Oh yeah, I want to. Like how many PTs you do? Well, we're going to do 3 to 5, which is fucking overkill. It's overkill. We don't need to do that many. They're all the same. They're all the same. What I mean by that is they all follow the same 1, 2, 3. Like, I mean, this case there, I mean, it's the same. It's just different facts on the same framework. Anyone ever seen White Lotus? No one ever saw White Lotus? I just finished. I saw the end of season 3 last night. That was awesome ending. Right? Yeah, thanks, Melissa. It's the same framework with different like characters in different locations, right? You notice it's the same framework. And season 4 is coming like Paris. So, and I noticed that too when I was watching it. It's the same thing. See with the essays. It's just, and here's the thing about reviewing essays that drives me so crazy. Except for like one little minor thing, which always happens. 97%, 95% of everything you're going to get on an essay in this upcoming bar will be something that they've tested many times before. Think about that for a second. It's the same shit. I'll go back to the 70s and grab a random essay. And guess what they're testing? First Amendment, equal protection, negligence, subject matter jurisdiction, breach of contract, murder. How can you possibly not? I don't get it. If you review 5 to 6 essays in each subject, you likely won't see anything new. You won't see anything new. You know, that torts essay from the last one. You don't think I've seen that a million times? Now, the prosecutor one, I've seen a couple times, not a million times. The only new thing was like the guilty plea with sentencing, although that might have been like tested once. That was the one little outlier. The trust, cypre and everything, that's all been there before. Agency, apparent, that's the only thing they ever test in agency. De jure, de facto, it's the exact same stuff they always test. So everyone talks about the what ifs. I'm not focusing on the 2%. I'm focusing on the 98%. So stop worrying about the 2% of what if they could do, because they're going to do the same thing. Get an easement. You'll get subject matter jurisdiction. You'll get personal jurisdiction. You'll get discovery. You'll get res judicata. Nothing new. You know, it's not like they're going to test statutory and rule interpleader. But that's going to give you the shits, huh? So, okay. Now